And I'm now joined by Alex Hoehl. Alex is a very interesting member of our Denodo team. Tell us your role, Alex, and what you do for Denodo.
Hi, Suresh. So I'm actually, I would say, a lucky visitor to the DataFest here in London. I'm taking care of the partner network in the Asia-Pacific region. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here at my first DataFest with Denodo.
Welcome to the DataFest. And Alex is originally from Germany, but he takes care of business for us with all of our partners from Japan to Australia and New Zealand, and recently our foray into China, where we have opened an office in Beijing. Our new person is starting in Shanghai, so Alex is all over Asia. So I'm glad you could come join here, along with some of our people from APAC. Certainly in the future years, we're going to have a DataFest somewhere in Asia, whether it's Sydney or Singapore or Tokyo or whatever it is. We will do that. So what's been the most interesting part of DataFest? You said it's your first one today. You were here yesterday as well, visiting our Product Advisory Council. You met with all the partners, had dinner with them. So what's been the most exciting part of DataFest for you?
Okay, so the most exciting one was probably meeting different customers, hearing about their stories, learning about the use cases that they have, which I think here in Europe is very diversified. They're using Denodo in many different ways. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that was really the most exciting part, to learn these stories and then be able to share that obviously also with our prospects in the Asia-Pacific region, to help them, give them ideas how they can solve their existing business problems, and how Denodo can help them to be more agile, address the issues, and get real benefits out of that.
Right. Now, Asia-Pacific is not exactly one, I mean, it is one region as a whole, but within that there you have so many, you know, you've got Japan, which is a highly industrialized, modern infrastructure, yet at the same time they can be quite traditional. Then you've got Australia, New Zealand, which acts differently. The ASEAN countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand act differently. So give us some flavor of what's happening out there in APAC, mm-hmm. and how you would compare that to what's happening, let's say, here in Western Europe.
Yeah. So I mean, Suresh, you already touched it. Asia Pacific is not one consistent territory. It's actually a number of individual countries which by its size themselves are actually different by itself. If you look at China, it's by size as big as Europe. It has about the population 3 times as big as Europe. So even China is not just China.
Right.
And then what you said, Japan is, for example, very industrialized, very modern country, but still very traditional in some ways.
Right.
ANZ is actually much more Western in its behavior and also in its use of technology. If you go to ASEAN, it's probably 3 to 5 years behind when it comes to technology adoption in comparison to the West,
right.
Which is then an advantage sometimes because you can probably skip some technologies and learn from some of the mistakes that other companies have done before.
That's right.
So you can leapfrog in some of the steps you're doing.
The common example of leapfrogging technology is in the consumer mobile phone world, you know, where when most of the Western countries had to fully penetrate the landline, so to speak, yes. and then go to mobile. In many of these countries in Asia, you had mobile phone ownerships kind of leapfrog Western countries because of that kind of technology. Well, Denodo has made a huge investment in expanding in every part of the world. We're in APAC, we're in LATAM, we're in Middle East, Africa, etc. We have made a strong investment with our own people in all these countries, but you're driving the partner strategy. And so tell us a little bit about kind of what the partner strategy is. I mean, globally, of course, we are very reliant on partners to support customer implementations, consultancy, but tell me the flavor that you're taking in APAC with partners.
Yeah. So I think Asia Pacific is actually a market where partner strategy is even more important because partners are holding a lot of these very strong relationships through year-long business with key customers and key companies out there.
Right.
So partners are not only helping to deliver high quality projects, but they are really the ones who are driving the engagement, who are driving the awareness, who are driving the architecture of Denodo in every company's future data structure and data architecture.
Right. So,
and we're looking probably about 50% of engagements are actually driven through our partners in the region.
yes, much higher than on average for the whole company. And these relationships are long-standing. So the customer, has maybe 5-10-year relationships with the partner. They're almost part of their internal IT in some sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
in
particularly if you go to markets like, for example, Japan, actually the share of external partners like Fujitsu, like NEC, like Hitachi is extreme. They have very few people actually as own IT department, and they have outsourced 70-80% of the IT work to external parties.
Right. And actually, as a point, and the market is so diverse, we're now we're delivering training in Japanese, thanks to our training team and converting all of our materials. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. I mean, localization in Asia Pacific is definitely one of the key aspects. So we have, for example, our Japanese website now in place. We have run our first solution architect training in full Japanese just last week when I happened to be there. We are working on translating, for example, the developer trainings into Japanese. And in the next step, we're looking now also at Chinese
too.
To do the same thing.
Wow, we're becoming truly global. And as you know, your presence in Singapore for about the last 20 years, you've been out of Germany and working in that region. So we are a truly international company in that sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, Asia Pacific is a super exciting region. A lot of things are happening, very fast growth rates. Also, you look at different markets, they're very willing to adopt new technologies. If you look, for example, at markets like the Philippines, they are very open to try out new technologies, are not afraid of deploying them, and then also can reap the benefits actually very quickly.
Fantastic. Now, I kind of bring it back to our European online audience. If there was one lesson or message that you can bring back from Asia to our European audience, what would that be?
Oh, that is a very good question, what to bring back from Asia to the European market. I think the Asian mantra is very much learn from the master and overtake the master. So I think it's probably, in this case, I would probably say, well, look at Denodo, look at how Denodo can help you, and then how other customers are using Denodo in their system, and then deploy it and come to the next level of using it.
Okay, well, learn from the master and overtake the master. I'll remember that. That's a great saying. With that, let me thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of the show. It's great to have you here in London.
Okay, thank you very much.
Very
Thanks.
good.